Let's start with this one. Xbox has had the worst couple of years I've ever seen, with the layoffs to studios closing to games right before launch being sacked. That's kind of that's terrible. Like, it's really amazing how much they've lost since acquiring Blizzard, which I think was a bad move on their part. Buying Blizzard was not. Blizzard is its own entity. You know, it's a big fish. Investing 70 billion euros into Blizzard was a huge hit across the platform in terms of gaming, because that's cash they don't have. It's got to come from somewhere.
Creative Force faces what new Xbox CEO Asher Sharma terms a reset. Seemingly corporate speak for throwing overboard many of the development studios the Megacorp has acquired over the years. The signs haven't looked promising for much of the generation, but now, more than ever, it feels like the end of Xbox, with many decisions taken by past leadership being walked back. During his time at the helm, Phil
An Xbox reset is kind of like corporate speak for we're going to be scrapping things we don't see as profit for 10 years. That's what that is. If they think the audience for that title is not going to stick around and buy merchandise or buy digital content for that particular title, or if it's not going to be something ongoing, they're not going to bother investing in it. That's why they bought Blizzard. I guarantee you in 5 years, World of Warcraft is going to be able to be played from a console. Either an Xbox handheld, Steam handheld, PlayStation handheld, but in any case, it's going to be a console game on cross-platform. That's where they're going with that. I guarantee in 5 years, clip me on it.
Spencer built a production empire with studios that opened up a multitude of avenues for Xbox to explore. The business was well equipped to make inroads in practically any genre or trend you could think of. But with multiple studios set to be jettisoned from its portfolio and left to fend for themselves, those avenues could soon be demolished.
Too late to turn back now.
Sharma today claims that Microsoft's gaming division is not healthy.
What she's saying is the online division is not healthy, meaning they can't retain Game Pass exclusives or Game Pass investment. Think about if you buy an offline game or an offline story. You're going to play that for essentially 40 hours-ish, and then you're done with the title. These titles are not ongoing. They want to go to something where you're continuously paying for it every single quarter. It's like every single 3-4 months, you get an update that you pay for through the Battle Pass, and the game continues to grow. Offline games and story-based games from little small studios, long-term profit-wise, is not long enough. They to recover the 70 billion of Blizzard, they would have to put out roughly 15 to 20 AAA titles at 100 euros for a one-time purchase. And even that would take a colossus jump. So they're looking at steady revenue stream from just key studios. But having multiple studios making offline story games that don't really have a retaining customer base or like a recurring form of income, scrap.
She begins her amputation of 3,200 jobs. And so, it all begs the question, is draining this much talent really the way to cure Xbox?
Accept what waits.
And they're not looking for a cure. They're looking to optimize what they have. They're looking to optimize future recurring titles with recurring updates with downloadable content that you pay for, rather than mini titles that you buy one time at a discount or in the Battle Pass that doesn't have customer retaining playtime, which means less exposure to in-game shops and in-game currencies and buying stuff. There's a big gap on that. But they're right, it's not healthy. Xbox as a studio is not healthy. They're spread across way too thin and not centralized on the core titles that make Xbox Xbox. Like, for example, Halo's a big one. Losing Halo was a colossus hit on that platform. So I think they're looking to do a circle rather than a cure. I think they're looking to drive back to what being Xbox was and single out things they deem as a virus.
Go on now, scoot.
If Xbox wants to focus on big single-player AAA games that have the potential to be both critical and commercial successes, Marvel's Blade seems like a relatively sure bet.
Night's just getting started.
In development at Arcane, one of the smartest and most inventive video game studios in the world, the prospect of this one is incredibly tantalizing. The blueprint is there to follow too. Just look at what IO Interactive recently achieved with 007 First Light, taking the creative stealth systems the studio has honed over decades developing.
Yeah, but once again, it's offline games. Blade's offline. There's nothing for that to... There's nothing tying Blade to recurring customers, and he's a new title too. The Blade audience is pretty old. Like, I'm their audience. I remember Blade when I was a kid, the movies that came out with Wesley Snipes. I never bought any merchandise for Blade. Never. Not one. I don't own a shirt. I don't own a scarf or like a game or a disc or a copy. I don't even watch the movies, and they're on Amazon for like free. Even that I just don't do. So cutting Blade was probably one of the best things they could have done, financially wise. It's kind of, and First Light, by the way, did do really well for 2 months. It's not been seen on Twitch anywhere. It's dropped all the way down. That was a moment of spike for offline gaming because streamers did that. But how are they going to make money off of 007 again?
Hitman, and translating that into a massively popular established IP in the shape of James Bond. Just imagine what a developer that has crafted the likes of Dishonored, Prey and Deathloop could bring to the world of Blade, as it too blends its own smart stealth systems with the 21st century's biggest pop culture universe. With its rivals at PlayStation seeing massive success with Insomniac's Spider-Man games, and presumably again with the upcoming Wolverine, this seems like a surefire way to success for Xbox.
Those are two big audiences. Spider-Man has so much merchandise in real life that you could sell a game for him offline. There are lots of kids today who are 12, 13, 11, 10, whatever it is, who want Spider-Man merch. They want the mask, the costume, the glove. It's in Fortnite. It's in Marvel Rivals. It's still in cinema. The Marvel cinematic world is still going, and Spider-Man's in it. He's got a movie coming up. There's lots to market to get out of a purchase of Spider-Man offline. Big difference between that and Blade. Huge, colossal difference.
If the path...
Same for Wolverine, by the way. Even when I was a kid, I had like little pens in my hand and I was pretending to be Wolverine in school. I imagine that culture hasn't died. Everyone is still spending time with Wolverine. He's also one of the beloved top of the world. Look at any Halloween in major countries. Kids are outside dressed up as either Spider-Man, Wolverine, or Superman, or Batman. That's it. Iron Man. Mostly Marvel, mostly DC. But Blade is not a niche or a big character. He might have a small audience, but it's the men in my age group, the 30s. We're not dressing up as Blade anywhere or buying Blade content. No.
Way to a healthy Xbox is to make critically acclaimed games that hold the potential to sell millions of copies, then why let Marvel's Blade and Arcane go?
Relax, man. I don't bite.
As popular as Marvel is though, we know you can't support an entire video game platform on its shoulders. And so if the plan to return Xbox to good health is to help award-winning studios thrive and fund them in creating industry-leading tech, then another entry into the Hellblade series sounds like a smart move. Both Senua's Sacrifice and Senua's Saga have won prizes at the Game Awards, BAFTA and DICE for their artistry, technology, and the performances behind their stories and characters, as well as educating those who played them in the world of psychosis and mental illness.
Right, but these are adventure games. They don't take place in a small city like Blade would. These games take you on an adventure far away. Look at Ghost of Tsushima. They can have more than one title because they're exploring all of Japan. Look at Red Dead. You go across 3 American states in the Wild West. Those things have returning retention. Like you can spend hours and hours, days and months just exploring the world at hand. Blade doesn't have this. Being stuck in a city, climbing a building all day doesn't have this. Wolverine and Spider-Man is action-packed. These games are adventure-packed. Blade won't have this. It's pretty easy to see why they would just chop that off.
If Xbox wants to make impactful games made with world-leading technology that cement Xbox's position with awards-recognized releases, then why let Senua and Ninja Theory go? Perhaps the plan is to nurture online communities and build on the foundations of already established series, something Xbox, to its credit, did well when turning around Sea of Thieves following its rocky launch.
It's not about the gold. It's about the glory.
But what?
That's the key thing. I said at the beginning of his video, it's about online retention. Sea of Thieves, in-game shop, buy stuff. Constantly upgrading your ship, your character, currency, interacting with other people. The world is more online today. You know, online gaming with other people, MMOs, are giants for cash making versus story offline. Story offline has a niche for a one-time purchase and that's it. But Xbox wants to have a major online division. And to do that, they have to focus on Sea of Thieves, Halo, Blizzard, Warcraft, all that stuff.
The future looks like for its developer Rare after the cancellation of the long-gestating Everwild is another question. State of Decay was one of the great Xbox Live Arcade success stories when it launched back in 2013, and became the second fastest selling XBLA game of all time.
Yeah, but that was GTA 5 hype. That was zombified GTA when GTA 5 came out like 13 years ago. That's kind of, there's a wave that made that successful. And that wave has fallen off. The 2020s is very different than the 2010s. The 2010s was a different kind of, let's just say, audience than 2020s.
But it's now been almost 9 years since its sequel saw the light of day, with State of Decay 3 currently set to arrive in 2027. Though never critically loved, State of Decay developed a dedicated fanbase that hoped for it to appear at every Xbox showcase across the past decade. To move away from the frequel now, when it actually seems like its development is close to completion, feels like another disaster. Seeing it through would show Xbox fans that this is a platform that remembers what made it the juggernaut it was during the 360 era. If Xbox wants to please the long-term Xbox player base and commit to a series it once helped create, then why let State of Decay 3 and Undead Labs go?
Halo, Doom, those guys made Xbox what it was, not Decay. The biggest incentive to buy an Xbox was Halo, and they've given Halo over to PlayStation. Doom is on its way out. The audience for Doom has aged out of gaming. They're not there anymore. And younger kids don't remember Doom because they weren't old enough to play it, recognize it, or have it in the house. And that's gone. Decay is relatively new in comparison. The 360 was all around Halo and Halo Reach. That's what made the 360 the 360. Or Heavenly Sword to some extent. Or Gears of War. But those things are gone. They're gone. The hype around that aged out.
Xbox could attempt to continue making the sort of third-person action adventures that its rival has long found success in. But it now takes PlayStation 7 years to make them, a window that could easily be exploited by a smart, nimble studio that thinks outside the box. Funnily enough, Xbox had one of those, a studio that's bounced from puzzle platformer to first-person survival to action adventure, each set in a world that's a far cry from AAA norms. Xbox's lead characters are largely huge men in combat attire fighting gross creatures, and so a hero who explored the mythology of America's Deep South didn't just provide diversity of representation, but diversity of story, setting, and theme.
I'll come back.
You better. I gotta know how this tale of Hazel ends.
There are many cultures that have.
I'm going to say something I think we're all thinking but not saying. Diversity in gaming, especially in like Xbox, is kind of like really big among boys and guys and men because of Halo, Gears of War, Doom. Those games have a certain kind of audience, and a chick running around the southern states fighting, I don't know, sassy fish and big crocodiles, not exactly the audience that wants to invest in that.
So much to offer video games. New heroes with different quests, new villains with different motivations, new monsters that pull on unique fears, and we see them all too rarely. South of Midnight is an excellent example of what can happen when they are shared with all of us. If Xbox considers fresh approaches to art, lore and culture to be important to its health, then why choose to stop the artists at Compulsion Games from expressing themselves further by letting them go?
This is nailed.
And what about the small...
Because Xbox knows their audience. They want to bring their audience back to Battle Pass, back to gaming, back to console, back to their platform. This game doesn't meet that audience. I think the CEO has recognized from data and analysis that the audience for Xbox is very different than the audience for PlayStation or Nintendo. Nintendo has a certain kind of audience. My wife is among them. But Xbox, they know exactly who they're appealing to.
Smaller, singular experiences that are exactly the sort of thing Game Pass was built for. Ideally, it's a place where games you maybe didn't even know existed could be found, turning an unexpected discovery into hours and hours of play. Games like Keeper, one of 2025's greatest games, and a short, exceptionally creative adventure that sticks out like a lighthouse on the shore of a sea of familiarity. Games like Psychonauts 2 that connect with us on a deeper level.
I'm not gonna lie, but these games don't look that enticing. Even for me, like I'm branching out into the world of gaming. I've always been very niche to like Overwatch and World of Warcraft and whatever my wife is playing. I watch her play stuff. But for me personally, who is branching out now, I wouldn't play these. They don't look that appealing. And the fact that they're not discovered says a lot about it.
While still making us laugh.
Don't panic.
You said panic!
If these doses of pure joy outside of the AAA bubble are valued, then why even consider letting a studio like Double Fine go?
That's cute.
Or is the idea to try and dominate the hardware space, as the 360 did back in the late 2000s? The console, the ecosystem it harbored, and crucially, the cost was an important...
I'm not gonna lie, but this guy is really out of touch. I don't think he understands what he's talking about. And what do you mean why? We know why. They want their audience back. They want Halo back. They want the Halo guys back. The Call of Duty boys, the Gears of War, the Doom guys, they'd want them back. These titles don't fit that audience and they don't have a recurring online space to bring steady revenue. Why would they invest in that?
Factor at the time, especially when compared to the disastrous PS3 launch. But it was the 360's library of first-party games and it being the best place to play multi-platform releases that more than arguably guaranteed its success. When the PS5 is currently winning the fight against the Series X and is the place where most will be playing the mammoth GTA 6 in the very near future, that battle seems lost already. And if Xbox wants to return to those halcyon hardware days and turn Project Helix into the best console on the market when it launches, then why halt the development of games that could convince people to invest in it? If hardware is the...
As I mentioned through the whole video, it's about long-term profits and long-term gains, not short-term. They're looking at what they can do for Xbox right now, hardware and online, to bring back customers and keep them and retain them. These titles don't retain people. You capture them for a moment, then after that, the production drops off. There's nothing to be gained from that. And for the 360 days, the reason why that did well, even I was young enough to remember that one. I was like 19, 17, around there. It's because it was online. Online gaming had just picked off for console. The PS3 online, 360 online, everybody was playing Call of Duty, Halo, or some sort of online competitiveness. That was like the big thing that drove that. It wasn't the offline titles. It was the online multiplayer that drove that console. And now they want to bring that back. Xbox has the notion, in my opinion, that being mostly an offline console game in an era of MMOs and RPGs and online gaming is basically cutting your own kneecaps off. It gets them nowhere. They want a massive audience subscribed and playing online and interacting with their platform and their Helix. That's a very easy thing to understand. from a corporate point of view.
Foundation of the plan, then why does Xbox's parent company continue to invest in AI via Copilot, and as a result contribute to the current components crisis that is impacting the cost of memory worldwide, and thus directly contribute to ensuring Project Helix arrives with a staggering price tag? It's an incredible cell phone by Microsoft, but one that's impact trickles all the way down to us. Gaming was once an affordable hobby, with the Series S recently being a standard bearer for such a concept. It all seems like a distant world away today. If the plan was to get people on side with short-term wins like changing the colour of a logo and shouting the word Xbox in all caps as loud as possible in an effort to be heard by a small section of what remains of a passionate player base, then it hasn't worked. That well has now truly dried up.
Yeah, but what do you think they're going to do when that well dries up? What do you normally do? You build a new well. They're trying to build a new well with a new audience. It might be having a price tag, but I think if I was going to bet my cash on it, is they're going to create basically a PC in the form of a console, and they're going to tell people you don't have to buy a PC. Just get the Series X or whatever it's going to be, the Helix or whatever it could be. Get that and get access to all your PC games. And if they can get Warcraft onto that console, it's a done deal. It's done. It's sold. That's it. Why pay for a whole dashboard, a keyboard, a mouse, speakers, when you can just get your TV, nice Dolby surround sound, plug in your new Xbox, and use a controller and play all your PC games from that box. Not that complicated.
And what's left at the bottom is a place to chuck all the mismanaged talent that made the beloved games this brand was once built on. The time for the benefit of the doubt has long gone, I'm afraid, with confidence in what's next for Microsoft's gaming at an all-time low.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. It's going to be the PC is coming to your TV. That's where it is. Xbox is bringing the computer to your TV. They're not fighting against PlayStation. They're fighting against the PC. Xbox at the core is a computer company. They built the Windows. They pioneered online gaming. They pioneered Halo. They did Copilot. They're planning to bring an affordable PC to every living room and make sure that you are subscribed to their Battle Pass and Game Pass and you have access to every game on your PC on that little box, plus exclusive offline titles on that box. They don't intend to go to war with PlayStation. They intend to go to war with PC, the bigger fish. They want those guys on that platform. That's where they're going. But yeah, that's the war Xbox is at. They're fighting with PC, not PlayStation. The console war is over. The console war has ended. They ended that battle a long time ago. That battle ended years ago. PlayStation knew that it was over the second... Well, not PlayStation. I was going to say Xbox. Xbox knew that war was over the second PlayStation acquired Halo and God of War and GTA. Xbox is looking at bringing PC people, the laptop gamers, the people at Nintendo Switch Online. They want those guys to say, hey, we've got a device that plays every game on your PC at the comfort of your TV, holding a controller and a headset. You don't need to go buy a keyboard and a mouse. You don't got to buy a microphone. None of that. Just pay 40% less than you would pay for a gaming PC. Subscribe to our Battle Pass or Game Pass. And here's Warcraft, Sea of Thieves, whatever it is. And it's a done deal. That's what they're on about. Xbox chose a different fight. You're all thinking